The title is gonna be those exempt from fasting.
Exempt?
Yes, exempt. Another way of saying what? Excused from fasting. So now we have those
That's the title?
That's the title. Exempt from what? From what, guys?
Fasting.
From fasting. And the scholars say 4 types, but we will try to add what? A 5th type. Okay. And automatically from this title, what does this show us from Allah? That Allah is what?
Merciful.
Merciful. Very good. Automatically, when you see that Allah exempts some people from doing a certain act of worship, what does that show us? Allah is what? First, for you're gonna say, from Allah's mercy. From what?
Allah's mercy.
From Allah's mercy. That He excused. He excused what? Some people from what, guys?
Fasting.
From fasting. From Allah's mercy, Allah He excused some people from fasting. The first person is the one who's sick. The one who's what? The one who is sick. The first one is what? Is the ill person. The what?
Ill person.
Ill person means what? The one who's what? The one who's what?
Ill.
The one who's sick. And this sickness, by the way, is different levels. This sickness is what? Different level. Some sickness, you can still fast. You have a small bruise. You have a small headache. Small migraine. Should you fast?
Yes.
You should what? Fast. So we should write what? There are what? Different types. We have what? Different types of what? Types of what? Sickness. Different types of what?
Sickness.
Sickness. So the first one is you're sick, and this sick is not what? Is not harmful. Is not what? Is not harmful. What should you do? If you're feeling sick, but this sick is not harming you, it's not harming your health, you should what? You should do what? You should fast. Number 2, you're sick, but this sick, if you fast, is going to what? It will be harmful. What should you do?
Make it up or
No, should you fast or not fast?
not fast.
You should not what?
Fast.
You should not?
Not fast.
You should not fast. So, also number 3 is the gray area. Number 3 is the what? What do we have?
Gray area.
The gray area. You wake up in the morning, you're not feeling too good, you should start fasting. You should do what? You should start fasting. Around in the middle of the day, if you feel like you're getting worse, then you should break your fast. If it's harming you. So 1, you wake up, you're sick, but you know the sickness is not what? What should you do? You sick, but you know you have a high fever. You have a what? You have a very high fever. You need water. You're throwing up. I mean, you have a very high fever. You're not feeling good. What should you do? You should not fast. Number 3 is the gray area. You wake up, you say, today I'm not feeling myself, but I think I could fast. What should you do?
Fast.
Start fasting. If it becomes difficult, then what do you do?
Break it.
Then you will what?
Break it.
Then you will break your fast. That is the first one. That is the what? The first one. Do you guys write that down?
Yeah.
Number 2. This is for the traveler. This is for the what?
Is it the fourth one?
This is the second one. This is the what? The second one is the person who's what? Who's traveling. And this person who's traveling, By the way, what is the distance of the person who's traveling? What's the distance? Whatever is considered to be traveling nowadays. So for example, Maryam, where are you guys coming from?
Egypt.
No, what area? What city do you live in now? Chantilly. How far is Chantilly? An hour. You come here every day. Is 1 hour considered traveling to you now? No. You know Baltimore, Maryland? It's about an hour and 30, 40 minutes away. You know? If person works there and he goes every day, is that considered traveling? No. But for another person who never goes there and he has to go there one day, this would be considered for him what? Traveling. Also, you know, someone every day goes from here to New York every couple of days. It's easy for him. He doesn't feel it. So traveling is also different what? Different level. But what is considered to be traveling? If someone says, when are you a traveler? You say, what people nowadays consider to be what? Traveling. You guys understand?
Yeah.
Someone always goes to West Virginia for work every single day. When you call him and you say, where are you going? He's not going to say, I'm traveling. He's saying, I'm going to work. Okay, another person never goes to West Virginia. He says, I'm traveling to. So this person, that traveling will cause for him to what? Break his fast. Okay, again, the second people that are exempt from fasting is a person who's what?
Traveler.
Who's a traveler. And what is considered to be traveling?
Something that's considered to be traveling nowadays.
What is considered to be traveling nowadays? Mi'raj, you with us? Okay? For example, anytime you're traveling and you have to shorten the prayer, now you're considered to be what? Traveling. You guys understand?
Yeah.
When you're traveling and now you have to shorten the prayer, you are permitted to what? You are permitted to do what?
Shorten the prayer.
To shorten the prayer. The one who's a traveler is the one who is what? Who's permitted to
Shorten the prayer.
shorten
The prayer.
the prayer. Okay? And the one who's traveling falls under three groups. Okay? The first group is that it's too difficult for him to fast. Is what? It's too difficult
For him to fast.
for them to fast. Okay? Should this person fast or not fast?
Not fast.
They should not what? One time the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he saw a man, the people were giving him a shade and he was fainting. And he was traveling and he was also what? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Laysa min al-birr," it's not from righteous, as-sawmu fi safar. The Prophet said, it's not from iman, it's not from religious, it's not from taqwa that you're fasting when you're what? Traveling. Because this man, he was traveling and he was fainting. He was what? And the people had to give him what? Shade. But the Prophet said, this person, he should have broken his what? Broken his fast. The second person, look here, the second person, there's no difference. For them, there's no what? They're traveling, yes, but there's no difference for them. There's no hardship. There's no difference in the hardship. If they fast and they travel, and if they break their fast, it's going to be the what? The same. What should they do? It's recommended for them to what? Recommended for them to do what? To fast. The second person, look, Abdullah, you're traveling. Okay? And when you're traveling, Abdullah, you can travel and it's okay. You could break your fast. If you fast, it's not going to be difficult for you. And if you break your fast, it's okay. What should you do now? Fast. Abdullah, you're traveling. But this traveling, if you fast, you're going to get sick and you're going to be really tired. What should you do?
Break your fast.
Break your fast. Ahsant. Number 3, you have the third option. And the third option is that there's some hardship. There's what? We have some. It's not a lot of hardship. There's what? Some hardship. In which you want to break your fast. Like you could fast, but it's gonna be a little bit what? It's gonna be a little bit difficult. Okay? What should you do? What should you do? Ahsan. It's preferred for you to what? It's preferred to do what, guys? It's preferred to. Why is it preferred to fast? Because you're fasting in which month? Ramadan. And you're fasting with all of the Muslims. And you're not going to owe any fasting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
So now we're looking at the people who are excused from fasting. Who's the first person? The ill person. And we said sickness has different what? He's sick. And if he fasts, it's going to harm him. What should they do?
Fast.
They're sick, but it's not going to harm them. What should they do?
Not fast.
Fast. There's a gray area. He's not sure how he feels. What should they do? They should start with what? Fast. And if it's become difficult, then they break their. Number 2 is the one who's what? Traveling. Who's considered to be a traveler? The one who's permitted to shorten the what? Shorten the prayer. And we said, if it's too difficult for you while you're traveling, what should you do? If it's no difference, what should you do? If there's some hardship, you could do it, but there's some difficulty, what should you do? So that you're fasting in the month of Ramadan. So we have 2, right? Now we are number. What number are we in now? Number 3. And number 3 now is the one who's incapable of fasting. The one who's what? The one who is like the old person. The old what? The elder. The old what? The elder. The one who's a what? Elder. The elder person. Okay? They are either, or let me write it this way. Let's put incapable of fasting, okay? Number 3, we're going to say what? The one who is what? So we can include both. The one incapable of what? The one who's incapable of fasting. They cannot fast due to what, guys?
Old age.
Old age. Due to what? Old age. This person, he cannot fast because he is what? He's old and he doesn't have the strength. He doesn't have the strength. What do they have to do? How do they make up their fast? How do they make up their fast?
Feed.
By feeding. By what?
Feed.
They make up their fast by what? Feeding a poor person per day. Every day they're not fasting, they would feed a poor person what? Per day. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ miskin. They have to give food to a what? To a miskin. So, we have how many people excused from fasting? The one who's what?
Ill.
The one who's sick?
Ill.
The one who's what? And the one who's what? So if you see your grandma not fasting, if you see your uncles not fasting, maybe they're sick, maybe they're traveling, or maybe they're what?
Old age.
Or due to old age. Number 4, the one who's excused from fasting is the woman who's pregnant, the pregnant woman. The what? Say that, the pregnant woman. And also the woman who's what? Breastfeeding. And the woman who's also doing what? Breastfeeding. So this person, a sister, a mother is pregnant. Okay? She is excused from what?
Fasting.
From fasting. What if she's pregnant in the early stages and she's not worried about her health and she knows she could fast? Can she fast? Yes. Okay? But if she worried for herself or she's worried for the baby, she should what? She has the license to?
Not fast.
To not fast. Okay? If a mother is also breastfeeding because she has to give the milk to the what? The baby. And for her to get the good milk, she has to what? Eat. For she's also excused from fasting. Yes.
She has to make it up.
Ahsan. Does she have to what? Make it up. So the woman who's pregnant and the woman who's breastfeeding, they have a special cause. We need to know why they're breaking their fast. If the woman, she says that, I am breaking my fast because she fears for herself. She fears for what? She's not fearing for the baby. She fears for her what? If she fears for herself, then she has to break her fast and then what? Make it up. Because she would fall under someone who is sick. So a woman is pregnant and she calls and she says that, I'm pregnant, I want to break my fast. We need to know, to give her the ruling, we need to know, are you worried for yourself or are you worried for the what?
Baby.
The baby. If she's worried for herself, then what?
You have to make it up.
She would be considered as someone who's sick, and then she'll have to make it up. However, if she's not worried for herself, but she's worried for the baby, then what does she do? She has to do two things. She has to make it up and also feed one poor person. She has to make it up and also feed what? One poor person. For she would make it up for herself, and for the baby she would what?
Yeah.
Feed one miskin person per day. What if a sister is pregnant and she's in the early stages and she can fast? Should she fast?
Yes.
What if she's pregnant and the doctor says if you fast it's gonna harm you and the baby? Should she fast?
No.
It becomes haram for her to what? It becomes haram for her to fast. What if she doesn't want to fast because she's afraid for her what? Self. What does she have to do? Make it up. Does she have to feed somebody? No. What if she's worried for her baby?
She has to fast and feed us.
And feed a miskin. Ahsant. So this is number what? So now, from Allah mercy, Allah He excused some people from fasting. Who's the first people?
People that are ill.
But what if this sickness is not going to harm them?
They should fast.
What if this person is sick and if they're sick it will be worse?
They should not fast.
What if this person wakes up in the morning, he doesn't feel good? What should we tell him?
Fast.
Start fasting, but if it gets harder,
Then break it. The second person is a what?
Travel.
And who's considered a traveler?
The one who is permitted to shorten the prayer.
If you have the license to shorten your prayer, you're considered to be a traveler. But if he travels and it's too hard for him, what should they do?
not fast.
What did the Prophet say about the man who became tired because he was fasting and the people had to give him what?
Shade.
A shade, and he fainted. What did the Prophet say?
He shouldn't not.
He said this is not from taqwa. He said this is what? لَيْسَ مِنَ الْبِرِّ الصَّوْمُ فِي الصَّفْرِ. The Prophet said this is not from taqwa. What if you don't have any problem, like it's not difficult for you? What should you do?
Recommended fast.
Recommended.
What if you feel some difficulty? Preferred? Why? Why is it preferred to fast?
So you don't have to make anything up.
You don't have to make any, you don't want to owe anything.
And it's easier because everyone's fasting.
And also you fast in the month of Ramadan. And then the third person is the one who's what? Incapable of what?
Fasting.
Like who? The elder person. And number 4 is the one who's what?
Pregnant and
The woman who is pregnant. And number 5, when a woman gives birth, she still for a long period of time she cannot what? She cannot what? Fast. Okay? When a woman after she gives birth, can she fast right away? She cannot fast what? Right away. This is called what? When a sister gives birth right away she cannot what?
Fast.
She cannot fast, okay? That is the 5th. So, and number 6 is what? Is when the women also are what? Are not ready to pray. Sometimes the woman, she's not ready to what? To pray. During that time she cannot also fast. Every month maybe there's a time they cannot pray. That same time they also cannot what? Fast. So they're excused from fast. But what do they have to do? What about the prayer? Do they have to make up they're not praying that week. Do they have to make up that prayer? But do they have to make up the fasting?
Yeah.
And this also the mercy of Allah, because if they have to make up the prayer, how many prayer are they gonna make? A lot, right?
Yeah.
So they don't make up the prayer, but they have to make up the what? The fasting. So you have 6 people excused from what? Fasting. Who's the first one?
The ill.
The ill. Number 2,
Traveler.
the child. Number 3, the old. Number 4,
The pregnant woman or the breastfeeding.
the breastfeeding. Number 5, after what?
After giving birth.
After birth. And number 6, when they are what? When they're not what? When they're not praying, okay? From all of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from His mercy, He says these people, they're excused from what? From fasting. Any question? Yes, Ayah.
When they have, when they have after birth, is it the same with the prayer? Like after?
Yes, after birth, also same with the prayer. They're also not what? They're also?
Not pray?
To some of the scholars say they also are not what? Not praying. And number 6, this is also when they are not praying, but for a short period of time. For a what? Short period of time. Our main concern should be traveling, sick, and what? The one who's what? Who's older. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So now we've taken, guys, what? Let's mention what we have taken so far. The types of fasting, the stages of fasting.
The pillars of fasting.
Okay.
When is Ramadan?
The virtues.
The virtues of Ramadan, the virtues of fasting itself,
The month of Ramadan?
the virtue of the month of Ramadan, the meaning of Ramadan, and now we've also
The purpose of fasting?
the purpose of fasting, and now
types
we're
of fasting.
the types of fasting, and now we've taken the what? Those skews from what?
The pillars of fasting too, right?
The pillars of fast. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about what breaks your fast. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about what? Tomorrow we'll talk about what invalidates, what breaks our fast. Also, tomorrow we can also talk about how Ramadan begins. Okay? Because we need to finish everything about fasting on 17. On the what?
17.
On the 17th. And this week you guys should start typing, okay?
Okay.
Please, this week you guys should start typing your notes. And then we'll also need to talk about suhoor, the virtue of what? Having suhoor. And then we'll talk about the etiquettes, some manners. What is the sunnah action to do when you're what? Fasting. With that, we will finish the chapter of the fiqh of fasting. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.